Welcome back to Doing Football. Today, recapping Super Bowl 56, where the Los Angeles Rams are Super Bowl champions. Also get to a few other things, including the Kyler Murray saga. I think one of the important things to look at in the offseason, or at least over the next month or so, and how that shapes out. Tons of information there. Just a quick note before we get into the rest of the episode, we are going to be taking probably a few weeks at least off from the show. Just with the season wrapped up, we will be back with a lot of guests and then a lot of content focused on the draft and prospects. So if there's anything you want to see on this show, let me know in the comments. But even if it's guests or someone you want to see join, definitely let me know there. Anyways, let's get to the Super Bowl. And I know me and Sandy had a video that was covering all of our bets. So I wanted to start with the national anthem because I actually found some information because the line had moved a ton. Mm-hmm. So apparently, this is what happened. Apparently, was that Warren Sharp has, all those premium picks type of people. Warren Sharp is in that business.
You hear that? So I hate to cut you off there. Someone tweeted that he's actually down like a ton of units recently, and every time someone tried to take their money out from Warren Sharp, and he blocked them from doing that. So a guy canceled his credit card so he wouldn't
Oh my God.
So Warren Sharp wouldn't take any more of his money, and he just blocks everyone who says bad things about him.
So there are a lot of people that are professional bettors in this space that are pretty pissed off about the way he kind of conducts business like this. Because there are a lot of people who are professional bettors that bet large amounts of money, but they don't sell those picks because if you're someone like Warren Sharp and you have this massive following and you give premium picks, let's say that you sell to a bunch of people, if you post a pick and people go and bet it, the market's going to move, so the odds are going to be worse for you. So if you're one of these people paying for the subscription and let's say you get this email from him with his pick an hour later, you're probably not going to get as good of a number, right? So anyways, Warren Sharp put out, I think if you're in what this kind of stuff really intrigues me is that I think if you're in the right space, like this sports betting space, you can find these novelty props and get a really, really big advantage. Obviously with Mickey Guyton, I think it was leaked to a bunch of to these people in this particular space that obviously she was going to go well over what the prop was at. And he put it out as a premium pick, the over-under on the national anthem. And that's what had it skyrocket. And I think some of the people that are in some of the pro bettors that are in this space were hurt by that because I think a lot of these books can kind of take these kinds of bets off the board completely if they hear that there was a lot of insider information on it and not honor the bets. So it's crazy the Super Bowl and the sports betting side is just blowing up. I mean, we had it last year with the national anthem where it was leaked the audition or not the audition, the practice round. So I thought it was a fiery way to start the Super Bowl.
I missed the national anthem. I was watching golf.
Yeah, we had switched it back and forth, but I did think that it's always a hilarious start. It's the way to get the girls involved that are at the Super Bowl party is the national anthem and the length of it. So anything to get us started with the game, fellas. I mean, I thought it was as it's kind of been the entire playoffs, very close, back and forth, tight game. Wouldn't say it was the most exciting game you watched.
I don't think that it made the game good.
Yeah, I think Odell being out just having Cooper Kupp in that offense pretty much, I guess, didn't make the game as exciting, I thought.
Yeah. I said to Abe, I thought he was going to be, watching him play that first half, I was like, he could have had 150 yards, 2 tuds. He was great. But I think to your point as well, Jared, I think a lot of people were upset with Sean McVay and how much they were running the ball. Mm-hmm. But I think he was obviously their clear number 2 receiver, but he was probably the best player on the field at the time. And losing him is pretty detrimental because their options behind him weren't great. Van Jefferson's been banged up all playoffs. Ben Skronik, every time he's been out there for a big play, he just can't, he's kind of fumbled.
Trips over his own feet.
So I think losing him was a big reason why they ran the ball so much. They just didn't have a lot of faith in the rest of the offense. But people were just castrating Sean McVay on social media for running the ball so much because they ran it so badly.
So he's another guy who's kind of heralded as the genius, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's 2 Super Bowls, and I saw someone tweet that 2 of the worst offensive game plans of all time in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it was pretty bad. But Van Jefferson I was watching NFL kind of put together a little clip of Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford's longest passes of the year. Van Jefferson was in pretty much
All of them.
every single one.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's not a possession receiver. He's good at going to get the deep ball, like taking the top off the defense. And you ask him to do something that you're not putting him in his position to succeed when you have to play him a receiver like that.
Yeah.
And it was tough to see, but they got it done. I fucking hate Cincinnati.
I don't know why do you hate Cincinnati?
I think they're frauds, man. I understand Joe Burrow's a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like hearing Joe Burrow talk about stuff. Like, when he goes on Pardon My Take, I think he's a cool guy as well. But when everyone gets on this guy's the coolest guy ever, it's like, all right, like, let's relax here and just watch the football. He's not that great of a quarterback compared to some others that people think they're better than. The Justin Herbert thing blows my mind that people would take Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert. One, athletically, Justin Herbert way more athletic than Joe Burrow. Two, arm talent, for sure Justin Herbert's better than that. Everyone's like, the moxie thing, I had kind of a big fight with one of my buddies, like, oh, he's got moxie, like, he can do it, he can win. It's like, okay, when was the last time Joe Burrow played a good football game?
Yeah, I think this was the flukiest and lucky playoff run from a team I've seen in years. I want to dive deeper into that on both the Bengals and Rams in a little bit, but I completely agree that I think it's a little bit blown out of proportion. And I don't want this to come from a standpoint of like we hate Joe Burrow. I like Joe. I watched Joe Burrow in college. I watched Joe Burrow in college. I watched him in the NFL. I think he's a fantastic player. He's a cool guy. He's a great dude, and I understand how people would get behind this team. But I think it's just blown out of proportion. Like, Joe Burrow's not a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's incredibly good. He's not a top 5 quarterback.
I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback in his conference.
Yeah, the AFC is stacked. The AFC is stacked. The other thing that I think about with the Bengals, though, is that what he was able to deal with to bring them all the way here was incredible. I mean, I'm pretty sure he had less than 2 seconds to throw this entire game, which is just unheard of. And what was he sacked 7-8 times in this game? I mean, I thought he played all right. And considering the circumstances, like, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can make the type of pre-snap reads and decision making and like be that quick getting the ball out in the league. Like, guys like I remember Phillip Rivers, who's just such a veteran of the game, even when he was a bit older and their offensive line was terrible, he still didn't like have that type of decision making, considering like 15 years of NFL experience. So Joe Burrow
is very smart.
Like, he's a veteran of the NFL when it comes to his decision making and his pre-snap reads and all that kind of stuff. That's what makes him really special. But I think physically, athletically, it's not, to the same degree as some of these other guys.
You think he gets that from just being on the bench a lot when he was in college? Like, I guess you see something from a different view when you're like on the sidelines all the time, but I think that might have helped him from that. People also forget that he's not like he's a young guy, because he's like 25 now, isn't he? Pretty sure 24, 25. But he was a senior.
He was a senior.
Yeah.
So a few more things I wanted to get to from this game was the Hargraves running onto the field. I thought that was I couldn't tell who it was, and then someone looked it up and told me it was Vernon Hargraves. And the last time he played was week 18 in a game that they sat all their starters. Yeah. So it's not like people thought he was like a guy on injured reserve. He was not. He just wasn't good enough to play. Like, he's been around the NFL for a long time. He's played a lot of football. I thought it was funny to see him be the one to make that kind of mistake to get the penalty.
Jared, if you're a college athlete, do you think your coach cuts your scholarship if you do that?
I'm trying to think of I'm surprised he was still there. That's what I was saying. Like, he's just sitting on the bench. Like, that actually could have. Did the Rams end up scoring before the half? Because they got the ball back. I remember after that play, so the Bengals, it was like, I think there was like under 2 minutes left, right?
No, they punted from the 50.
Okay.
They didn't get. They should have turned.
But if the Rams actually got some points on the board, that could have had a huge sort of movement on the game from a guy who's not even on the lineup. Like, he must have just got absolutely laced into by someone.
I don't know if you do, though. I think just how
you just don't want it to be a distraction. It's kind of like let's end it. Let's just fuck you and then just like kind of move on.
There's no way someone in street clothes should have an impact on the football game.
Yeah.
So I think it was like once you saw them cutting to him sitting on the bench, like head down. Maybe one of the funniest things.
That was the shitty part, was that it cut to commercial because it was the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
I think it would have been great if we would have seen it all like unfold, the penalty in that live, because the camera would have been on him. We really would have found out what it would have been like for him. So.
Yeah.
But I also think just all the defensive players coming onto the field is kind of the same thing. Like, why is it much different just because he's not in uniform? Like, the coaches go on the field sometimes.
Right.
I think it's the helmet thing, right? Like, because if you take off your helmet, you get a penalty, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
On the field.
If you're on if you were on the field and you take your helmet off, yeah.
So I feel like the way those rules worked was kind of odd, and maybe you don't have something. That shit should never have happened if you know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think if you change those rules a little bit, like, they shouldn't come onto the field so everyone can go take a picture in the end zone.
Yeah.
Like, I get that's funny and cool, but I think that's maybe a little ridiculous. So if we change that, then this shit doesn't happen.
There's
again.
also a lot of things that got, like, he did that, but it could have just in the same facet been a guy on defense, like Jared said, just took their helmet off. Because I'll see guys on defense make a big play in the game, and they don't care. Like, they don't care about the impact. They're like, Coach, we have the ball. Like, it was a turnover. What's 15 yards to you, right? I'll take my helmet off so everybody sees my face. And it's literally a see my face, know who I am type thing. Know the man behind the helmet because I just made a big play. That's all. The only reason they take their helmet off. The other thing I had was the MVP. So I think the Super Bowl MVP is just a really broken award.
For sure.
You need, like, the way that the only reason Matt Stafford didn't win the award was the 2 interceptions, one of which wasn't really his fault because it hit his receiver dead in the hands and he tipped it away. But if Stafford didn't throw 2 interceptions, he was going to be MVP on a game where he was good, he was solid. Kupp, we didn't really see him until the last drive, last drive, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Aaron Donald to me did absolutely everything you could do to win MVP, but the problem is that the people voting on it didn't see him in the end zone, so I guess that's why he didn't win.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest again, right? It's like people other than a quarterback winning the MVP just in general, not just for the Super Bowl. But I agree that it's broken because people were saying that Joe Burrow should, like, how the game was shaping up. I was kind of like end of the third quarter. I was looking on my book to see if there was any live MVP, and I was going to try and take T. Higgins at that point. Like, I thought if no more points were scored in that point of the game, well, it was 2016, I think, kind of at the end of the third. Thought if there's no more points scored, I thought T. Higgins should have been the MVP.
Wouldn't have happened, but
and that's why I was like, Joe Burrow didn't play well, I don't think. So there's no reason. Pretty much, if you were to take the Bengals money line in that game, you should have just parlayed it with Joe Burrow to win MVP for better odds. I think it goes so hand in hand with that.
Who's deciding? Like, that decision is made like very quickly after the game. Like, is there just like a group of like a certain amount of people making that call, or what?
Is it like the NFL, or is it
there's
writers?
Yeah, there's writers, and apparently they
submit the writers are horrible at pretty much everything they decide.
They submit their pick before the 2-minute warning too.
Really?
That's what I read. I could be completely wrong on that, but that's what I read, which is crazy.
Well, it's crazy
because look at what Donald did in the last minute.
It's crazy for people having to bet on that shit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just, like, what do you mean? Like, looking at having to know, or you can't, the 2-minute warning not having an impact on the MVP?
I feel like that's got to be wrong, right? Because what if the game changes?
It goes to overtime.
Yeah, the game changes. What about is Von Miller like the only defensive player who's won MVP?
I think there's 2 or 3.
Butler didn't win when he had the pick, right?
Well, no, he just made one.
Yeah, he just made one play. Yeah. But you got to think, like, you got to have an absolute monster game on the defense side.
You have to
score. You have to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, Von Miller in that case, I don't know if he scored a touchdown in that.
I think he did.
But he stripped the ball.
It was Peyton Manning, so there wasn't a lot left.
Yeah, he stripped the ball and someone else picked it up in the end zone. It's broken, but fuck.
I don't think there's not really much that's gonna change about it. It's just like the perception of quarterbacks and their importance to the league. Other few more things just on the game, and then I have a bunch of stuff to get to just to these teams. I was surprised with Samaje Perine getting those really 2 important touches. I think people forgot about in the first half when he got one at the 50, and he didn't get it, and then he went back to him again. What did you guys think of the the offensive pass interference that was missed there.
So I said to you that it was agreed. It's because I didn't like the Bengals. I wanted them to lose.
Yeah.
But I said it was a fireable offense. Like the ref should have been taken off the field. But then you said to me that the ref just can't see that. And you're right.
Yeah.
The ref who's on the sideline, they had turned away from him. The hands are in the face. There's no way for the ref to see that. I guess the ref that's like over the top. The play was so far down the field. He's probably not in any area to make that call.
Yeah, I think there's a guy
close.
in the middle that's not close. Yeah, he's probably way behind the play too.
Yeah, so he couldn't see
Way
anything
behind
like
the
that.
ball.
It sucked. Jalen Ramsey's just fallen down a lot in these playoffs. It's actually been incredible. He can't stay on his feet.
You were telling me the Jamar Chase wide open on the 4th and 1, and he was
On the
there
ground.
too.
I'm gonna clip some stuff up of Jalen Ramsey just on the turf in the playoffs.
You know, when it kind of reminds me, like, I wonder if this is actually like a thing with Ramsey, but like, you know, when you fall just so it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, I was just
you know
gonna
what I
say
mean?
that.
Like you trip, like, oh fuck, like I fell.
Yeah.
When you just get clearly beat, I feel like that might have a little bit of a factor because Ramsey is.
I thought the Jamar Chase one, he kind of did that.
You know what it's
Yeah.
like, Jeremy? It's like when I'm out in right field,
Yeah.
and, and somebody hits a fly ball that you know isn't just like a
Yeah.
normal fly ball. You know they like really got underneath it, and you just have to be like the sun.
Yeah, the sun. It's exactly like the sun. But
just so you don't have to. You don't. That's an absolute beta move of
Oh
all
yeah,
time.
I was still
like,
ripping you
afraid of
guys
the
if I was
moment.
on the mound.
Okay, let's go to the finishing this game, and let's talk a bit about these two teams.
But so we didn't talk about Piran at all.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But why do you have Joe Mixon if you're not going to use him?
Yeah, it's like this
Yeah, that
guy's
was
weighs
very
more,
odd.
basically.
You want to put your best foot forward in all situations. Joe Mixon's your best foot as a running back on that team. You're going to look back and be like, oh, why didn't... Like, if you don't get it with Joe Mixon, it's okay. You have nothing else to talk about. It's like, we didn't execute the play. And it's not someone's fault. It's not the coach's fault because the right personnel wasn't in there. And that is just frustrating. Something you're going to complain about if you're a Bengals fan for a little bit here, but...
that mix, it seems like there was a little bit of a mix-up on that second down where they went deep, right? And it looked horrendous. Like, that was just a waste of a play.
Yeah,
and
there was obviously miscommunication because he didn't go run downfield. He wasn't all the way downfield. That's true.
And they wasted, like, it wasn't even like, they wasted time too, and then, like, it took, like, a little bit to get that off. But
It took them a long time to get that first down play after they made... I was surprised with how long that took.
That's definitely the part that I don't think people noticed was that it was 2nd and 1. Like they really should have had that yard, no problem. But I think they were more focused on that second play was like, okay, we don't need to worry about getting like running the ball for a yard. Let's try to make a big play type deal.
yeah, they're probably thinking, you got the best kicker in the game pretty much at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like one of them.
Yeah,
Like,
one of them for sure.
But they're probably thinking like with
Second
overtime and all
second best
that.
kicker in the division,
Yeah.
though.
You look at their kicker compared to the Rams kicker, and you're taking obviously their kicker way more in overtime. But I think that I guess they were just thinking like, let's go for the win here. Which is,
On 4th and 1, I told my dad, I was watching with him, I said, they might go for the end zone here. That's what I thought was going to happen. Try and like catch them off guard. Personnel looks like you're about to run.
Yeah.
And then go deep.
Because you know what your front four can do, right? Because like they were getting pressure so quickly. If you just jam all those guys at the line, and then hopefully like he doesn't have enough time, but then in that type scenario is a chance that like you break that play that ends the game. Kind of
college football, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
4th and 1 from midfield, you just score a touchdown
yeah.
pretty much all the time.
Everybody's like either we stop you short or you score, no in between.
Yeah. And another thing where this play ended, the 4th and 1 play, I had said this to you earlier. It felt like the game was incomplete at the time.
I felt it was a bad way.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the two teams that were playing were surprising. This game it just didn't. It was legit. It was a minute left, field goal to tie the Super Bowl and take it to overtime, and it just didn't feel like that moment either.
It was even
the same thing with the 4th and 1.
The T. Higgins touchdown to start the second half. It's like no one was watching the TV at that. Like obviously you were, but a lot of people weren't sitting down ready for that to happen yet.
Yeah.
I was sat down on the couch and I can't remember what I was saying something to somebody and not looking at the TV and I missed it. So that's a bad football guy move by me.
No, hey. You like to
early.
Yeah, you like to party too,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You like to get everyone going.
Okay, let's start with the Rams and the model they took for this season. Like I mean, obviously the trade for Stafford was a
Win.
huge move. a big like all-in type move by them. I mean, you think about what they did to acquire Jalen Ramsey and then pay him all the money. They bring in Von Miller, Odell. Is this like a model that people will try to, like if they're missing a quarterback, will they try to do this type thing where they get this big time QB and then also get even deeper into going all in kind of deal?
It has to. Past 2 Super Bowls, right? It's been how this is. Bucks were kind of not to the same extent, but kind of going all in for Brady as a free agent, obviously. But I think it is the model. It can be done. You build it. Look at the Steelers at this point. If the Steelers get Aaron Rodgers, I can see them in the Super Bowl next year.
Right.
So,
is there any other teams you think? I think the Browns could be like that too. Like I like Baker. Baker could maybe make without the injuries, could be back and playing at a high level. But they're a team, I think, a big quarterback, and they'd be there.
I think the Steelers are just the one for me. Broncos, not so much. I think there's like really good core of receivers, and the defense is pretty good this year, I'd say. But I think they're further away than like the Steelers are.
I think they're think the Steelers. I
really?
think they are. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's kind of the 2 teams I've seen like that. It is a successful way to do this.
Yeah.
The good quarterbacks in the league are so much better than the middle tier quarterbacks that it can change everything.
Think about the way we think about Kirk Cousins. People talk about Kirk Cousins so much. He's so like perfectly average to like pretty good that we just all say he sucks. Like we all just kind of say he sucks. Even though none of us actually think he sucks, we're just upset with how average he is.
Yeah, really good this year statistically, as like even as a fantasy guy. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the way to go. It's like, man, you can wait for so long to build your own quarterback. I think that's why the Joe Burrow thing's also so interesting, is because they got there so quick.
Yeah.
Like, no one's expecting that.
No, I'm really surprised at where like predictions and projections were on this team before the year. Just because I think we knew it from that incredible 2019 season at LSU. Even in his first few games in the NFL, I was like, this guy will be good and his intangibles will move the needle for their team. People really were underwhelming with their predictions on him. I guess it was also had to do with the fact that he wasn't even sure if he was going to be ready for week 1 of the season too.
Yeah, I guess the senior quarterback, like who was the other senior quarterback taken first overall? Was Baker the last one before Joe Burrow?
Yeah, was Baker a senior?
He was old at least.
Yeah, I guess because he was a walk-on. Yeah, you're right.
So it's kind of like that thing. But I think you just have to do it, man. It works. Look at that. And if you get a good quarterback, people come to your team.
Yeah. That was what Odell did.
Yeah.
Play with Sean McVay, play with Matt Stafford. Eddie, could you pull up that link there that's on the page? Before I get to that, though, one more thing on, or let's just get to this. So I want you to read these off to us, Jeremy. Just scroll all the way down to, keep going, all the way down to the bottom of this graph. Yeah, right there. Okay. So, Jeremy, go through. We'll start it. Actually, scroll up a bit, Eddie, to get to where Rams Bengals is. I want to ask Avery these things. Ask me and Avery these things. Are the Rams? Look at the Super Bowl winners. So blue is the winners.
Yep.
Are the Rams better than these teams? Who? At what point were we like, okay, the Rams are better than this Super Bowl champion team?
Okay.
I see one glaring one right away.
The Buccaneers.
They're not better.
No, they're not better than the Bucs.
Okay. The 49ers.
Oh, sorry, it's back to Kansas City. Yeah, it wasn't blue and red. That's my bad.
Yeah. Okay. Kansas City.
I think the winners are all on the left.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
No,
they're not better than the Chiefs.
Okay. The Patriots.
They're not better than that Patriots team.
I don't think so
I think
either.
that defense is really good.
The Eagles.
Yes, they're better than the Eagles.
You think they're better than the Eagles?
Yeah,
That's where you draw the line?
That was the first glaring one.
I was going to say the Eagles are better just because of they had a really good front four. I think they were really I like their offense just as much as I like the Rams offense.
Yeah.
But I think their defense was a little bit more complete. But
you just think of the Eagles without Carson Wentz, MVP type season there too. That season, and then there's no Robert Woods, Odell Beckham second half. I think they're kind of missing equal pieces that made their teams that good.
No, maybe you're right. Okay, keep going though. There's got to be some like where else do we see anybody here?
Patriots again.
Patriots
That was
team
the Falcons
better.
one. That team was so good.
The Broncos.
That's where I was starting. I was thinking the Broncos because the Broncos defense was unbelievably good, but their offense was terrible with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Because that was the Brock Osweiler, Peyton Manning. Okay, so then I think we're on the same page. I was going to say they're better than the Broncos. I just didn't think that this Super Bowl winning team was that that good in comparison to previous years. I think it's more recently, I guess, is what I'm thinking of. Is like those the Patriots, Kansas City Bucks. The last 3 years we've had Super Bowl winners where I was like definitively like this team is the best team in the NFL.
I was about to say, I said this as I was watching the game last night. The game felt disappointing to me as it was happening because I could tell, to me, these weren't the best teams in the league playing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I said it to my buddies, and they're like, "Oh, it's because you're a Chiefs fan." I said, "No, the Bills are better than the Bengals for sure. The Bills and the Chiefs, for me, the Packers could have been better than this Rams team."
I think so too.
Watching the offense without Odell was like, it was a little tough to watch. Like Matt Stafford could not get like. It looked horrendous. Like any other defense is probably putting a stop into that. Like you can still stop Cooper Kupp. Like if it was just Cooper Kupp. Like no one else could catch a football.
They were
and they couldn't run at all.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
at all.
Oh my God.
Maybe maybe it was a testament to how good the defenses were. And as people, I still have an untrained eye to football. Like I'm not able to pick up on what the defenses do right away.
Especially when you watch it. That's the one thing that bothers me about football is that we watch it and all we see is the quarterback and the offensive line.
Exactly.
Like people who like don't really understand all the details of the game will watch the quarterback and see him get sacked and go, why didn't you throw it to like an open guy type deal? Not understanding that like there's way more to this than that.
So they showed the graphic of Joe Burrow. He had the most sacks allowed, or he got sacked the most in the NFL this season, right? I'm telling you guys, that graphic came up, and I was like, that is not it's not a quarterback stat. Like why this comes up. So they said Matt Stafford tied for the most interceptions, and then Burrow getting sacked that many times. Two totally different things. And also have another thing that's very baseball-like. They need to take away interceptions that are clearly not the quarterback's fault. They need to have an official score. Like it's not fucking fair.
Yeah, there should be like errors almost.
Yeah, I think someone should say like this is a earned interception, like change the naming of the earned part of it, but there needs to be someone in the stand saying, hey, that's a real interception. Like that's on the quarterback. That should count towards quarterback stats.
And it would be very simple. Like it would just basically be if it hit your receivers. Like what are other ways other than hitting your receiver?
Or they should just make one tipped interceptions and interceptions. You should have two stats, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to judge someone's splits based on not seeing how they've thrown these interceptions.
Yeah. If you go into like advanced stats, there's a stat called turnover worthy plays, like percentage or amount of turnover worthy plays, and those are the ones that I guess should be picked off type deal. But those don't include plays where it's tipped by like the receiver.
Well, I'm sure Patrick Mahomes has 50% turnover worthy plays when he's on there.
Yeah, true. I don't know all the details of how it's measured. That's true.
Going back though to like what we talked about the offense and the Rams being whatever, like what they were, like you give 130 with how many timeouts they have? 3, 2?
The Bengals or the
Bengals
when
they're
2
coming
timeouts.
down. Like you give that Chiefs and the Bills, like they're not doing what the Bengals did. Like that's why I think it felt really shitty the way that game ended, because the Bengals' last drive was bad.
Yeah,
like really bad. And you give that to like a QB like Mahomes or Josh Allen, and we're talking about the Rams losing the Super Bowl.
Correct. You give that to Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about Brady. The game being over.
And I don't think it's I don't think it speaks to Burrow too much. I think it speaks to the quality of the team, like the offensive line. If the Bengals are going to have any chance in getting back here, let alone winning the Super Bowl, it's going to be like they're going to need to improve the offensive line drastically through the draft, and probably they addressed their defense through free agency, so they could address this offensive line through free agency too.
And I mean, people are going to go to the Bengals now. It's just more of a catching spot to go.
Gronkowski.
Exactly. It's like, what the Gronk, you're smarter than that. It's just
Gronk would. I feel like Gronk though is just saying that. I don't think he'd actually go. I mean, I think he's just going to retire if he's not playing with Tom Brady.
I agree with that. It's like, I've played with the best ever. Now let's go to someone else who kind of reminds me of the guy we were with.
Yeah, just because of his moxie.
Yeah.
And then let's do 2 more things on the game and then we'll get to Kyler Murray. So what do you think of proposing after the Super Bowl? I think it is maybe the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Like, I don't know what goes. Obviously, me and Jared were talking about this. He obviously prepares to do it beforehand, and then if they don't win, then I guess he's not going to propose, obviously. But like, this is the biggest moment of your career. Why would you include your girlfriend into the equation of like, you win, you want to go back to the locker room, pop champagne, but you just propose to your
You
girlfriend.
can't leave her.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, you're not like, hey, I'm leaving right now for to go party.
Gotta go
Like,
party.
almost like, you know. I think it's just like people truly believe, which is like very acceptable, that it's the best day of their life, and then they want to add on. You know, they want to make it like even better. I could see that
getting engaged, or
yeah, like getting engaged
No,
with the
Super Bowl is the best day of
Okay.
your life.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
then they're
that's what I
like
meant.
adding it on. It's like best day like ever. They want that title as like best day ever. And like I could see it, but it's also just like, man, all the guys are celebrating the Super Bowl win, and then you just have your buddy who's proposing.
You know what?
And it just like kind of gets lost a little bit when it's not supposed to get lost. Like you technically
Okay,
are doing
so-
that so it doesn't get lost.
Okay, so let me flip this on you guys. Van Jefferson had a child. Well, he didn't have a child. His wife had a child. It's kind of like the same thing. Like one of the
No.
best days of his life, right?
Right, but
Yeah.
this is what I'm thinking. You know how I'll say to people that us going to the Rose Bowl this year was the best day of my life?
Yeah.
They can say, I want, winning the Super Bowl is the best day of my life. And then they go, no, but honey, we got engaged that day too.
Yeah.
So don't tell me
Yeah.
that I don't consider our marriage important.
You
Yeah.
know, it really was
Yeah.
the best day of our life.
So then your wife doesn't get sick of you talking about it, you know? A little bit.
Yeah, she's like, oh, what do you mean? It wasn't when we got engaged. So,
I was.
or our child was born, like you said.
It's an okay take. I just always think about the Boise State one after they beat Oklahoma in that Fiesta Bowl. I remember the guy's girlfriend was a cheerleader, and they proposed after they won the Fiesta Bowl. That makes more sense that it's like the football team is probably how you guys potentially met. Like,
Right, yeah.
You're all part of the program. Like they're traveling to the game too and seeing all that stuff. So
That's true. Okay, I want to do this on the Bengals is for next season, for 2022. Is there a team in your mind? It doesn't have to be next year. Maybe just like,
the 2022 Cincinnati Bengals missed the playoffs.
no. This is not what we're doing.
I know, but I'm saying it. I have to get it down because I want to clip it.
You just had to get that statement in.
I think I said it a couple of weeks ago too. I want to say it again. They missed
do
the
you
playoffs.
do you want to say anything else about it? So get yourself a really good clip here.
Yeah.
They're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to be the third team in the division after Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers, and then the Baltimore Ravens win the Super Bowl.
Nice. Good job.
Safe.
Okay, so predicting the next team to make this Bengals type rise. Is there a team that you can think of right now this offseason that could do what the Bengals did?
Miami Dolphins.
Really? If they get Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good with their defense. I think that's a good one.
They have weapons too. Like some people would see that receiving core as pretty good, right? Maybe
Yeah, solid.
maybe a receiver away from being really good. Kasicki's a good tight end.
Their offensive line is terrible,
Yeah.
though, so that will need improvement.
So,
Just like the Bengals. Jeremy, do you have one?
And they have
I have one as well.
And
but-
they have a running back who people think is shitty, and Myles Gaskin, who's maybe a little better. Like Joe Mixon, people thought he was shitty.
Yeah, I still don't think Joe Mixon's all that great, but still.
I don't know if this counts because like they were still pretty good and just missed out playoffs, but they sort of remind me of the Chargers, the way like Herbert.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I just could see like having a QB like Herbert on your team. Like I could 100% see them making a run like this.
Run. Yeah, I'm going with the Bears. Like I'm taking one of those like
Nice.
teams
Oh, wow.
that stinks
Wow.
and meteoric rise. There's a reason Joe Burrow was sitting on the sidelines while Justin Fields was starting at Ohio State. There's a reason why Joe Burrow transferred. It's because Justin Fields is really damn good. Now Matt Nagy's gone. I think
Nice.
David Montgomery, when he's on the field the last 2 years, has been really, really good. Their defense, you put those colors on in Chicago and you're just really good at on defense.
Yep.
I think Eberflus brings in, has the right staff, has the right mindset. There's a reason why he was hired. And I think that they have a big year next year with Fields, and maybe they could make this type of run. That was the team I was thinking
I
of
like
when
that.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, that one totally off the board for me.
They'll need to add a wide receiver for sure. Like they'll be obviously Allen Robinson will be gone. They'll have Kmet, and then they'll have Darnell Mooney. So maybe they need another pass catcher. Maybe they can do that in the. Just kidding. They don't have a first round pick
Who'd they use that for?
to take Fields. Shit. All right. Well, second round receiver maybe.
Well, I was
anyone like Rashad Bateman? We got a Rashad Bateman-esque guy in the draft. You want to tell people about?
I haven't fallen in love with anyone yet. Traylon Burks is obviously sick, but I think that's too mainstream.
That's too early too.
Yeah, I need to
not
find
available to the Bears.
I need to find someone
You gotta
else.
find your guy.
Yeah.
I need to find my guy. I'll find a guy. Don't you worry. But also going back to the Bengals, the only reason they were in this spot was because Joe Burrow got hurt last year.
Yeah, it helps them with the pick. like of Jamar Chase.
You said to me today that you think they had 7 wins last year if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt.
I honestly think so, yeah.
And who do they get? Rashad Bateman maybe instead of, or they address the O-line.
Yeah, or they have a later pick and go O-line. Yeah, exactly.
It was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Imagine the people that post-game were still having this debate of that stupid picture of like Burrow sacked. He can't throw it to, he can't throw it to a receiver if he has, or he can't throw it to Chase.
The receiver was anybody, right? And they had like Sewell.
I mean, at this point, I think we can safely say that this was the right decision for the Bengals. Like they made the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like Chase is an all-pro. He's going to be one of the best receivers in the game.
Maybe generational talent.
Yeah, like it's good. Sewell will be a great player in the NFL.
He has short arms though.
He does have short arms. That does hurt. When you get to the best of the best, from college to the best of the best, those types of things, man.
Yeah.
Those types of things. Kyler Murray. Let's wrap up with this. It's been a couple weeks of this ongoing. Eddie, if you can pull up those links there's just some preposterous tweets I'd found with takes on this. Basically, what's happened is he's deleted all of his pictures. He's taken the Cardinals out of his bio, and then the Cardinals took every picture they had off their Instagram, and then kept the 2 that were of him. So nobody really knows what's going on. There's been a lot of what's been said is that Murray is self-centered, immature, doesn't really like to shoulder a lot of blame. He was embarrassed with their loss to the Rams. And I will say this to you, Avery, as we're college football guys, what a surprise it is that, a kid that was the Gatorade Player of the Year, nobody probably told him no when he was in high school, might be a spoiled little brat.
Yeah. We watched QB1. Spencer Rattler's kind of the same.
Yeah, it almost gives me that vibe.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler that got that vibe. So when I hear Kyler Murray the same way, it's actually sad. Like, you're in such a good spot. You're in such a good point in your life, man. You're playing a game.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for them because it is their job, right? You think of it differently. We see them as the most blessed people on earth getting to play a game like that. And it's tough to see, but this is fucking hilarious.
I mean, the thing is that there's all these sources. I'm assuming some of them are probably players. There's one here I found from Twitter that I saw this morning that I thought was hilarious. Like, it's so egregious it has to be true. The tweet says, just heard this on 98.7. I would assume it's a local Arizona station. During halftimes, Kyler Murray is known to sit at his locker and call his girlfriend or put his earbuds in and isolate himself from the team. It says, if this is true, it further magnifies a complete failure of the entire organization from top down. If I saw somebody on my team doing something like this, I don't care if they're the best player on the team, I would tell them what's up.
That is the type of guy you are, though.
There's so many. There's been leaders. Like, I don't know if this is just developing from this past season, but like Larry Fitzgerald was in this locker room. Who else is it? Like
J.J.
Patrick
Watt,
Peterson is in this locker room this year. Yeah, Chandler Jones. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, you can't allow someone to behave like this in your locker room if you're on this team.
So think about high school sports. There is a guy on every high school team that would want to be able to call his girlfriend in between the halves.
Does this guy play though? Is he on the bench or does this guy play?
Probably bench.
Sixth man.
Sixth man.
For sure. But this is really funny. Like, all time, everyone's girlfriend wants their significant other to be able to do this, but there's just no one thinking about ever doing that.
No. Nobody would want to do this. Like, I would never want to talk to my girlfriend at halftime of a game.
It's just not going to be a good conversation either. Like, we're not going to dive into anything.
No,
in that short of a time frame.
Yeah, like,
can you search up Kyler Murray's girlfriend, Eddie? I'm sure she's a smoke.
We might get a good idea here.
Yeah, of what he's dealing with.
The only thing they're talking about is like, honey, sweetie, like, you're so.
Yeah. Okay, that's not what I was thinking she was going to look like.
Okay. Yeah, good looking gal. Yeah, good looking gal. I mean, yeah.
Her name is Morgan.
This, though, like,
her name is Morgan.
Just a complete turnaround for the Cardinals, who at the start of the year, everyone's like, holy crap, like, this team's got potential. This team's going the right direction. And then what a just a bad playoff game. I mean, Kyler Murray, like, I know he apparently doesn't want the blame, and if it's true, then, dude, you're the quarterback of this team. Like, it's always gonna be on you if you lose. It's like any other team, and you always see the quarterbacks fess up, be like, look, I could have played better. But it feels like he didn't even acknowledge that maybe, like, I had a bad game when everyone knew didn't have a good game.
Aaron Rodgers has been dealing with that for a decade. Mm-hmm. And it's made him a bitter old man at this point, but he's dealt with it better than Kyler Murray has.
Yeah.
I also heard that during the playoff game he pulled himself, and Colt McCoy was trying to talk him into like finishing the game with his teammates, and he just refused. Like, I know he was banged up, but he's also been banged up the last 2 years too. Like, I don't think playing an extra couple minutes is going to matter. So something to monitor. I mean, if I saw Kyler Murray out playing for another team in 2022, I would be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked, considering that that the Cardinals took Josh Rosen the year prior and gave up and took Murray the very next year. Like, this is a guy they've basically spent 2 first-round picks on. Yep. So he's really everything to them. So I'd be shocked if he's out of there. I mean, there's no way they can't fix this and figure this out, because I don't think it's an organization thing. It seems like.
How many teams in the NFL don't trade for Kyler? Like, how many quarterbacks would you have over Kyler Murray?
So if I'm thinking in the grand scheme of like my franchise, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen.
Joe Burrow, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because the way Joe Burrow plays gives me a longer career lifespan than Kyler Murray.
I'm different than you on that.
Okay.
I'll
take Lamar Jackson before I take, I think I take Kyler Murray over Lamar Jackson.
But based on their team.
I think the Ravens would keep Lamar Jackson. Am I missing anybody?
Aaron Rodgers.
I wouldn't. I'd take Kyler Murray.
Really?
If I'm going to have to deal with Aaron Rodgers being like, I might retire at the end of this game.
True. Yeah.
Russ, I'd probably rather have Kyler just because Kyler's way younger.
Yeah. So that's like 7 teams you just listed there.
Yeah, I think that was 5 or 6 teams, yeah.
Just people need to start getting in his ear then.
If Deshaun Watson legal issues were completely gone, I'd rather have Deshaun Watson, I will say that.
Yeah.
People always do that. I did a TikTok where I was like mentioning Davis Mills as the Texans started. It's like, guys, I have no idea what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. We may never see him again. Mm-hmm. Am I forgetting somebody? No, I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. I'm thinking about the playoffs, Tannehill.
There could be an obvious one, but any more teams for you, Jer, where you'd have?
The thing is like when Lamar had like that crazy year and everyone was like, fuck, mobile quarterbacks are kind of the way to go.
Yeah.
And then Kyler Murray came in. But when's the last time we actually saw a mobile quarterback in the Super Bowl? Like Russ? Like, you consider Russ a mobile quarterback?
No.
I feel like it's going towards now with like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Stafford even. Like this sit back, big arm quarterback. It's kind of the way to go, it seems like.
But those quarterbacks are athletic enough to make plays when they need to make plays, right? Mm-hmm. It's not the RPO option type quarterback that's going to get you there, but having a good arm, but being athletic enough to make a play with your feet is
like, I guess Josh Allen, like, he still uses his feet a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is the difference is now is that there's a progression that they're able to use their legs to help them out. The one guy I forgot about that I'm still taking Kyler Murray, but Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak.
Sure. Yeah, I like Kyler over them.
I think that's it though. Everyone else, I wouldn't even really have a debate. Like, I'm not having a debate about Matt Stafford.
Do you think Kyler Murray?
Kirk Cousins.
Do you think Kyler Murray takes the New Orleans Saints to the Super Bowl next year?
Depends who's playing wide receiver.
I saw Michael Thomas's bat. Like, he's good to go apparently.
Okay, he would probably if Kyler Murray was there, Michael Thomas would definitely be happy to stick around in New Orleans. They'd be a really good team. They would need to add more receivers. They would need to add secondary, tertiary type guys though. But yeah, I think that would be the Saints would be in such a great spot there. They just went breeze to Kyler Murray.
I think that'd be a really fun spot for him to go if he somehow got out of there.
There's so many teams that are like we talked about with Aaron Rodgers, that you add a quarterback like that and you're just on a completely, like, you're already there. You're at the Super Bowl contender type level. All right, that's pretty much everything. That's a wrap on the season. Football. Congratulations to my girlfriend. The NFL season's over. I had my fours. My fours were sky high for the fourth quarter.
You shouldn't have been so excited. you know?
No, but it was like about the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the entire time I was thinking like 1 quarter left, half.
No,
half.
the worst way to think about it.
God, that sucks. But fours were sky high. Last game of the season. I'm gonna have to find something else to really get into and love to watch.
College baseball starts Friday.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'll have tons of content on the draft coming in a few weeks. We'll take a little hiatus here. So if there's any guests you want to see or any content you want to see, let me know. Tweet at me, comments, whatever it might be. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.